Okay.
All right.
Good morning. Welcome back to this week's edition of Satterwhite Live here in Longview, Texas. Today we're going to talk about general contractors in the log home industry, and we've got one of our good friends here, Jacob Moss. He is one of the owners of Moss Construction. They're based right here in Longview, Texas, and you and your dad have been working with us, I don't know, probably 30 years?
Yeah, 30 plus years, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of experience. So you may or may not know, and we talk about it from time to time, one of the main things we offer here at Satterwhite Log Homes is what we call a constructed shell. The constructed shell is basically Satterwhite comes in, puts the structure in the dry, and then the customer is looking for someone at that point to help them finish the job.
Right, right.
So that's where Jacob comes into play. And you know, depending on where you are, we've got general contractors all across the nation that have experience with Satterwhite log homes. Now, that's finishing them out, stacking the logs. You know, typically your main deal is finishing them out, but of course you have. What other experience do you have?
Well, yeah, we typically come in. We general contract the rest of the home after, like you said, after the shell's complete. But a lot of times we're involved before Satterwhite gets there with your dirt work, or if it's too far out for y'all to do the foundation, or if it's somewhere where it's better for someone like us or a general contractor to do your foundation, we're involved in those types of things as well.
Well, that's a great service to the customer. You know, Satterwhite, if let's say we're pouring the foundation, well, the customer's going to need someone to take care of the dirt work.
Right.
You know, and there's a lot of different things that general contractors take care of behind the scenes that really will save the customer time and money. You know, at what stage should a customer involve a general contractor in their project?
I always say the very beginning, you need to if you haven't found your general contractor, you need to be looking, you need to be seeking out someone. I know a lot of times, if it's not us, y'all have, like you said, y'all have a lot of general contractors y'all recommend. So always go with someone that's recommended, especially by Satterwhite. But yeah, from the very beginning, you need to have your general contractor already involved and already talking with them about different things you're looking at and what you're going to want to be doing, and also looking at maybe looking at your piece of property where you're going to build, where the house is going to sit, utilities, stuff like that. And always
permits, building codes, inspections.
Permits, inspections, stuff like that really depends on the area you're building in. It all varies. Like us, we build in multiple states, so multiple areas are going to be a lot different. Some places, you know, may be really strict on, where you're, on all your inspections and what you have to,
Well, like the state of Louisiana, for example.
Well, yeah, Louisiana's a little tougher. It doesn't matter where you build over there, whether it's out in the country, out of the city limits, you have to have permits for the entire build. Some places you can get, you get out of the city limits, there is no inspection, right. There's nothing required. So it just all depends on where you're at.
But that would be a benefit, wouldn't you say, of having a general contractor, because 9 times out of 10, aren't you facilitating those or helping with the inspections, the permits? And
absolutely. Your general contractor that's in your area or wherever you may be building is going to know what you need and when you need it, and you don't have to go out and start seeking and finding these things, or they're already going to know where to go and what, and how long it's going to take, because sometimes those things you can get into them and it might take 2 or 3 weeks to get a permit, and you drag your whole project down because of that. So
and we're not saying that you can't general contract the house yourself, What we're talking about today is just the benefits of a general contractor.
Right.
Of course, like anything else, their services aren't free of charge, but 9 times out of 10, unless you have experience in contracting a previous home, having a GC is going to be a major benefit to you, in our opinion.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, the building radius of a general contractor.
Really, the radiuses, it's all going to differ. Some contractors really, they got their 50, 60 mile area.
Right.
Depends. Now we are different. We travel a lot with where Satterwhite goes. So we're probably one of the few contractors that travel out of, and work 3 or 4 states. Yeah. So it really all depends on who it is and where they're willing to go. That just,
It just depends on, And one thing, we will never recommend a contractor to any of our customers that don't have prior experience with a Satterwhite log home.
Right.
And we're not saying that any general contractor couldn't finish a Satterwhite home, because after we're done, most of the things that are log home specific are already taken care of. But we like to recommend people that we're familiar with, that we've worked with in the past, and it just is a lot smoother.
Well, and that's a great point, because having a general contractor that's already dealt with y'all's homes, or with log homes in general, is a big difference. I've heard, and I've had a lot of people come to me and, might not have known we was in their area or could have done their home, and they done travel around and talked to all these different local contractors that were not experienced in their homes, and they weren't comfortable with that. So, you really get a lot better deal when you get someone that's already experienced, has done maybe even a few of y'all's homes, just a little bit of experience, or a lot of experience goes a long ways with already knowing what's going to happen and how it's going to happen with your log home.
Right, exactly. So, okay, we've talked about the help the general contractors can offer at the beginning, the building permits, stuff like that. They can also facilitate any excavation or dirt work that you need prior to your foundation being poured.
Right.
So then we get to the foundation work. That's been done. Satterwhite comes in and we build the constructed shell. And then once we leave, your role goes into you just kind of.
Right. We just kind of come back in and kind of take back over. We let y'all have it. Y'all build the shell. There's no. There's nothing that we come out and tell y'all to do. Y'all know what y'all are doing.
Right.
We come out after y'all are done, and we take the job back over and go with it from there. Now, one thing I do want to point out, and this is okay. Some people, and I get asked this a lot, some people want to come in and do a few things themselves.
Okay.
And that's okay. But one thing I want people to remember that may want to do things themselves, that you also have to think about timing, whatever you're doing, if you're going to be able to jump in at the right time of schedule to do whatever you want to do. That happens sometimes a lot, and it can really mess up scheduling. So you got to take all that in consideration.
Well, I mean, because once you start finishing the home from where we're at, you've got subs, any amount of subs so you've got all these irons in the fire.
Right.
And what you're doing is taking the responsibility for the customer of managing all these subs.
Absolutely, yeah.
Making sure they're in the right spot at the right time, and facilitating when everything goes as planned, because obviously it's a step-by-step process.
Right. A lot of times when y'all are getting close to being finished, we working with Satterwhite all the time, we're always talking with y'all about, where the job's at and stuff like that. Y'all always keep us updated, so we know, hey, y'all are 2 weeks from finishing. We're going to start calling this, all our mechanical guys, and, getting people lined up. That way the job's not sitting there. Now, sometimes do we get there the next day after y'all are done? A lot of times no, but we're there within that week or so, trying to make sure the job's not having a big lull time.
Right. Yeah. So that's a good example of kind of the day-to-day management of the subs and stuff, and also cost tracking. Obviously, you have a budget for your shell, and then before that shell's built, you've met with Jacob or your general contractor, and you've established a budget for the finish out.
Correct.
Kind of talk about, the day-to-day fluidity, I guess if that's a word.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a word to me. So, like you said, from the beginning, before we even start your home, 99% of the time, we've established a budget, how much it's going to cost. It's all firm pricing, especially on new homes, you know. Now, the only things, I'll point this out real quick, but the only things that you can keep in mind that might not be firm pricing is stuff like fixtures, you know, faucets, toilets, you know, lights, stuff like that. That's all in allowances. But with companies like us, we do give you a set-aside allowance for that type of stuff, because a lot of folks think that you have to have all this stuff completely picked out from the very beginning and bought, and that's really not true. It's kind of almost impossible to do that because of the fact that you don't know how something's going to look in a space. You don't know how it's, you know, what colors you're going to want or anything like that.
Well, and things change. I mean, people change their minds.
Oh, yeah. And you just don't know. But back to cost tracking, or how that runs throughout the job, you know, a lot of people, depending on, you know, whether you have a financial institution or if you're just, you know, if you have the money set aside for this, we, you know, either way, we keep up with it basically on a weekly basis, because there's so much stuff, especially once the shell's up, you know, there's so much stuff happening at one time. You know, we're ordering things, we've got subs on the job, we've got, you know, different stuff going on, and we keep up. That is one of our main jobs, to make sure you're staying in budget. Everyone's being paid on time. You know, people are, you know, the money's running like it's supposed to, where it's supposed to.
Right, and that's taking the headache away from the customer. You guys are making sure, like you said, the main thing is making sure all your subs are paid on time on a weekly basis, and then also keeping your cost where the customer expects them.
Right. And sometimes if you get you know, extras do happen, change orders happen, you know, stuff you might want to put in a beam that you didn't have, you know, and all that stuff still gets tracked by us. We have to go in and make sure we account for all that and let you know, hey, how much this is going to be, you know, how much extra this is going to be and stuff like that. You know, that's a lot that can go into it too, because especially on a job, you know, you might have a lot of extras, a lot of changes. It can get very confusing of when you go back in and start changing stuff, because you might take something out and put this in. You got to do the difference. You know, it can get really exhausting sometimes.
Well, that's why the more legwork you can do in the beginning,
absolutely,
the better. But everybody changes their minds on things, and that's not a problem. It's just
nothing wrong with changing your mind. Absolutely not. I always tell my customers, if you want to change something, just let me know. Let's try not to do it at the last minute, but you know, it's okay. You know, we want to please you and make your house what you want it to be. So I'm always for changing something if you think it's going to look better.
Absolutely. So, you know, basically at the end of the job, you want everybody happy. And let's talk about, what if there are problems after? Let's say we built the shell, you came in, you finished it out, hand over the keys, and then there's a problem after they move in. How does your company handle that?
We pretty much, depending on the time period, you know, if it's something, you know, if it's something within a few months, we're no questions asked. We're over there, we're going to fix it, we're going to handle the problem. Well, you know, when I say a few months, you know, we give a 2-year warranty with everything we do. That's our standard. Okay. And most likely, if it's something that it was done incorrectly on our behalf or by one of our subs or somebody we hire, we will fix it, and we'll come out and you know, and stuff happens. You never know, something might not fit right, something didn't get glued good, you know, stuff happens, but we will fix it, and we give 2 years. Perfect. And usually by then, if nothing, you know, if everything's running smooth, that's usually something's going to happen by then. If it's going to happen.
That's an ample enough time frame for something to happen.
Absolutely.
So. Well, perfect. So, all right. Anything else you want to add? I mean, we're not, like I said earlier, we're not trying to talk you out of being your own general contractor. We're just trying to show you the benefits of a general contractor. On a day-to-day basis of the headaches that they can save you. So. Well,
one thing I will add, when you hire a general contractor, like you said earlier, there's a lot of headaches that can really be involved in a job, and that person will take all that on for you. You know, the general contractor is basically your communication for the job every day, and he's handling whatever, he or she's handling your job and every aspect of it every day while your job is being done. So there's a lot that people don't know about that goes into general contracting, and sometimes it can seem like it's a pretty straightforward deal, or we're just calling people and telling them to go to the job, and there's so much more involved in it that we could probably talk about for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, it's just consider, if you're considering being your own contractor, my advice would be to actually talk to maybe a friend or somebody it's a general contractor, and ask them really what's involved. Talk to somebody you might know, and then they can give you some insight on it. Or you can always call us or Satterwhite, and we can always, give you some insight on it.
Absolutely. And it doesn't cost anything to get a bid.
No, it doesn't cost anything to get a bid, and just to see what we charge and
see where you're at.
Yeah.
So, well, Jacob, I certainly do appreciate you joining us this week.
Absolutely.
I didn't know you were a movie star, but you handled yourself very well. So, I hope this was informative for everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week, same time on Satterwhite Live. Y'all have a good day.